Hello, welcome to another video by Dumb Data. In this video, we walk you through the free Fullstory implementation worksheet created by the Dumb Data team. To access this worksheet makes it easy for you to kind of document your whole Fullstory implementation, and also helps you to also manage your Fullstory implementation and share insights with your team. Insight discovered from Fullstory with your team in a way that everybody is being carried along. To find this to make use of this worksheet, all you have to do is just visit the particular page. You can find the link in the description or in the post you're watching from social media platform or in the comment section. So now you have to just click on the end of the button they will definitely take you to the worksheet. You click this part, it brings you here. You don't have this is the mother dashboard. You have to click on file to make a copy for yourself. Give the beautiful worksheet any name you intend giving to it. Add it to whatever folder you intend to give to it. Most times you can start by adding probably if you're an agency, you can add the company's name, then the full information worksheet, or you just can have your own internal structure. You click on, then boom, you now have a copy for your team. So this worksheet is, if you're familiar with full implementation, then you shouldn't have a problem with this worksheet. So this is where you put the company name, and this is where you select like the overall implementation status in terms of implementation. Is it still a backlog? Is it in progress? Is it debugging? Are you in debugging mode? Like, are you trying to if you already implemented but you're trying to test out and see if everything is correct? Or are you in the is it on hold? Let's say, for example, probably there's for some reason you try to pause at the moment. Then if it's completed, so the person who is looking at the document knows that, oh, implementation in Fullstory is already completed. Now that's the privacy. This is where you put in your configuration. This is where you check if it's enabled. So let's say, for example, are you disregarding, are you discarding IP addresses? Yes, or you put in the IP address you're trying to discard. Then you enable, are there form preferentiation rule needed? You put in the configuration you have, then if needed. This is what there's a privacy part and the data capture part. Data capture switched on. I think you already have this on in Fullstory. The domains that should be tracked. Set domain that you tend to track. You don't want to. This is when you don't probably want to have spam domain sending traffic to your Fullstory account. And capture data by location. This is the location you have to capture data for your Fullstory. If it's enabled, you put that. If it's for all locations, you put all locations. Are you trying to block certain IPs? You put in the IPs you try to block here, and you put it enabled so that your team member knows that, oh, we are fitting for some IP. Maybe for some reason they can't find the IP, traffic in the IP or stuff. They know why they can't find that. Should rage click of certain rage clicks, shaking of certain rage clicks or dead clicks be ignored? This is when you're trying to ignore some kind of rage click in Fullstory. You're trying to tell Fullstory that, oh, please, when you click on a particular button on my side, please count it as rage click. And let's say, for example, you have a button that does nothing. It does nothing. The button is just there. It's like it does not change anything entirely on the screen, or for some reason you have a button. Fullstory might see it as a form of rage clicks where people click on it, but when you tell Fullstory to ignore it, Fullstory tends to ignore that clicks on that particular element as rage click or as dead clicks. They also check if you have that enabled. This is where the tabs. This is just like a description of what each of the tabs here does. You can see the team is where you list out people who will be working in Fullstory. So this is the team part, where you list out people who will be working in Fullstory, their name, their email, their role, their department. So their role is what they'll be doing in Fullstory, not like access type. So for example, let's say you have a John Doe. John Doe will be the admin manager. He manages users. Sorry. Or let's say, for example, he's a project manager. You put in what he does. The department is project manager. Okay, manages. Let's say, for example, John Doe manages the strategy. Then the department, let's say, for example, is in the project management. Then what access type do they have in Fullstory? Would they be getting in Fullstory, or would they have, or do they have in Fullstory? So there's an admin, there's an architect, and a standard. Um, then second part is I also walk you through this part. This is where you list out. Fullstory allows you to integrate different tools with it. For example, Google Analytics, some other A/B testing tools can also be integrated with Fullstory. So this is where you list out the tools that you've integrated. Let's say, for example, Google Analytics. What would this be used to do? To It's going to be used to add like a qualitative analysis. We use to add a qualitative to GA data. So, say for example, you are tracking a particular um, action in Google Analytics. When you integrate Fullstory with Google Analytics, you can now see URL of the session URL of that user in Google Analytics as dimensions. Then you can then use that to kind of maybe you wanted to work the session recording for that user in Fullstory. You can now also use that session URL to say that session for that particular user action in Fullstory. So these are the possible DB conversions for your event. It can be object plus action, which is, for example, form submitted. It can be action plus object can be submitted form. So the action can be submitted when the object is form. So also the next one is event tracking and data taxonomy. So for the event tracking, this is where you first of all walk you through the data taxonomy before the event tracking. So data taxonomy is where you list out the events, you then tracking, their definition and their trigger. So for example, when a user creates an account. So when the user creates an account, this is the way you list out all the properties you're going to have in Fullstory. Then a property type is an event property, is a property. Then there are property parameter type. So if this property is going to be a string or a integer or array or boolean, then the description of that property. For example, I'll use account type. Let me sign method. So let's say, for example, it's going to be a event property. Also, it's going to be a string. It tells us the sign up, social sign up method use, sign up method use, social login or native sign up. Now, what's happening is in data taxonomy, I think can easily come here and understand what each event that they are seeing in Fullstory means, and also the properties, what they also means, and their property type and the possible string type, the data type for that particular um, for that particular property, then also what that property is all about. Then in data tracking, so for example, if I add a new one here, let's say for example, I add generate lead when user creates an account, and submit a form. Let's say for example, I create a new one which is share a file. When the user shares a file, right? So let's say for example, I want to add the parameter. Let's say for example, I'm pushing in file type, file name, the form type, which is for the lead. So all this will be event, 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 and they will all be strings, strings, strings. Let's have pushing in value also, right? Unless it's going to be event property, is going to be um, a integer, and then let's say I'll also be pushing in user plan. So maybe when you create an account, you have to let the plan is going to be a user property, it's going to be a string. And let's say sign up date also will be needed, right? It's going to be user property, there's going to be a date. Um, so this is where I put it like the file type, the file name, the form that was from the category. Let's say, for example, you have insurance form, you have contact form, you have a ticket form on your site. So the category of form submitted on the website. You can see how this data dynamic is very, very beautiful. So the value of an event. So it can be number. Okay, let's also push in currency also. So it's going to be like event. It's going to be a string. And this is going to be the plan the user is on. The sign up date, what day the account was created. Um, the currency, right? Now, what then happens now is if I come into event tracking here, which is where you can document your stuff, you can now see the event, generate lead, share file. If you continue to add more, they will all be flow streaming in directly to this place. Description you can also copy from here directly. If you intend, you can copy from here directly. Then the category, about five categories. Is it the acquisition category, activation? Is it a conversion? Is it an engagement, is it revenue? Then the event properties. You can add new one. For example, we have a property here that says account method. So you can come here and say, okay, let's say we have account type, user plan. We have another one that says date created, which is sign up date. Yeah. So we are testing, for example, we are creating another one for generate lead. Can just come here and copy straight. Come here, copy that, come into this place. Please remember to paste it in. Let's say, for example, the activation. Let's say this is activation. This is conversion. I'll be pushing in the so probably this will not be. Let's say, for example, this is just event property, but on a normal time, this 2 year will be a user property, including the name, email, phone type. There might just be the user property, right? So this is just for explanatory purposes, right? Then there's a let's say, for example, I'm pushing in the value here, currency, then the possible property type that you have in them here. So put them for each of these values. You can check out here and put that here. And the properties, what properties we tend to push in this particular place. So for example, in this place, I would like to push in the account method, the user plan, right, as a property, but not as an event property, right? So I tend to pretty much push that as a property. You put that here, and probably any other properties you tend to also push in here. Then the property user types, a string, email, integer, and other stuff. Then this is where you put in the deployment type. This server side, client side, or tag management system. I'm not sure. Fullstory has API capabilities. Let me check. Fullstory API. It kind of has, I think. It kind of, yeah, I think kind of. I think it kind of has how you tend to deploy this to server side, client side, or tag management system side. Then implementation status is where you have to select your implementation status, not done, initiated, published. Just for monitoring the implementation progress for each of those events. I didn't talk about the priority. You can easily select the priority, then the notes you tend to share. So you can say, fine, then maybe you have a note you want to share. Then once you mark this as published, please don't touch anything in this cell, please. When you mark published, let me show you. When you mark published, a date is automatically added to, you can see this is removed to the time you mark published to state that this is the date this event was created. So let's say, for example, after implementing this, I just come and I'm pushing published, it's going to mark it as completed so you can know the date on which that particular event was implemented. Then I've already talked about the taxonomy part. And the business goals, this is everybody in the team comes together to kind of state what they intend to use the data in Fullstory for. So, for example, the business stakeholders, they come here typing their questions on a line basis. We would like to know how users convert. We would like to know how users like to know the number of conversions. Right? So you click here, you go to the next line, you type in the particular question also. This is for business stakeholders, this is for the engineering department, the UI UX design team, they all put in what they intend to use Fullstory for. You come to segmentation, this is where you Fullstory supports segmentation, which is the beautiful thing about Fullstory. This is where you put in the segmentation name. What is that purpose of the segmentation? For example, this is a 4-4 segmentation. Why I'm creating this is for me to kind of understand how 4-4 happens and stay proactive. Then this is just for me to understand how will you build it, what do you intend to use. So let's say, for example, when the page title equals to 4-4. So this is where you talk about your composition here. Here you describe why you intend to build that composition. This is where you put in the segment status. Is it created? Is it in progress? Is it on hold? Created and live? Archived? Then the funnel part is where you also view that Fullstory supports funnel. One of the features of Fullstory is funnel. So you can put in the name of the funnel, purpose of the funnel, then the funnel composition, the status also. Then there's a metrics here. Where you put in the metrics. Fullstory supports creating your own like calculated your own metrics. So this is where you put in purpose and the metric composition also. And the type, is it a number, is it a percentage, is it a duration, is it a currency? And it's going to be a metric status by the time you make use of this. Then there's a dashboard. Fullstory allows you to build dashboard in them also. You put in the name of the dashboard, the purpose, the KPIs you tend to see in that dashboard. So that when the person in charge of building the dashboard goes in to build the dashboard, they build the dashboard with the KPIs you tend to see in the dashboard, and they also ensure that the dashboard achieves your particular purpose and need or goal for the particular dashboard. It's the data management whereby you define, in Fullstory you can define an event, you can name an event, you can also do some page settings, and you can also define a worst element. So you give the name here, the description of how you tend to build out the defined event, or you name the event, the page settings. If you know, if you are good with Fullstory information, all this shouldn't sound new to you. Then also there's a transformation composition. What makes up this customization? So I describe it in a simplified way for anybody to understand. Okay, what is this? Okay, for example, this is when somebody clicks on a mouse on a button with the element class btn, right? So you describe that here, how you intend to build it out. So this is when the CSS class, the CSS element and stuff equals to btn. Then the status is equal or not. Then inside, this is where I love so much. This is where you can share insights with your team. So I won't go into Fullstory right now to try showing you how to particularly make use of this stuff. You put in the priority, the page. Oh, I like to use this page. Use the page that's affected. For example, is the page is affected for the insights. The filter that you use or the segment that you use while trying to look at the recordings or the heat map or the scroll map, the findings, the shareable URL. In Fullstory, you can share the URL of a recording or a particular stuff. So the start date range. So let's say, for example, the date range I was looking for. What is the date range allows you to do at the end date range? What is start and end date range allows you to do is they allow you to, so that when your team member goes in to check that particular stuff that they are looking for, they can make use of this date range to also find out, to also see what you are to kind of zoom into the particular date range that you are looking at for that particular data, then the status is a backlog. Backlog means that nobody has attended to your findings. Open means somebody's looking at it. Close is that somebody has looked at it and probably they've made out a decision either to take an action or not to take an action. And implement department in charge, putting department in charge here, and that's just it for this Fullstory information worksheet. This video is brought to you by Dumb Data. It's a free analytics resource hub for better measurement. We have free event listeners, worksheets, and the data studio templates. We are also writing articles and videos, measurement videos that will help you succeed in the measurement space. So we have event listeners, a lot of event listeners that you can use to track certain interactions. We have over 35 plus event listeners on our website. I'll continue to add more and more event listeners that we're also working on. We're also working on free tools, 2 free analytics tools. When they get launched, we also notify you. They're also working on the presentation worksheets that you can make use of to improve your analytics documentation. I'm also working on free worksheet, also more and more free worksheet to come. So we also have dashboard that I can make use of. They are plug and play dashboards for the Data Studio dashboards, GFO dashboard, and Universal Analytics dashboard also. I can make use of to get the insights you need for your business. We're also working on also publishing Power BI template also for you. So that is it for today. Until then, happy measuring.